Join us for a driving review of the new Skoda Octavia vRS IV. Let's go! In the front here, the base Octavia already gets a sportier front grille, leads over to the headlamps, standard LED, optional matrix LED, but matrix LED is also standard for the RS models. And they receive a darker front grille, here vertical fins, vRS logo. The length is at 4.69 m, 15'4", 185 inches. Here available both as the hatch and as the combi. The combi would just continue right there with the roofline. And, I sometimes also say, sedan or limousine or fastback, however you want to call it. I think it's definitely very beautiful styling right here with the falling roof line. Dropping line from design here above the door handles. Wheels come, in Germany for example, standard 18-inch. It's also 18-inch right here with winter tires. And in UK, 19-inch would be standard. Otherwise, in other countries, then, depending on the country specific, then an option. But with summer tires and the 19-inch wheels, it would look even more menacing. Contrasting mirror caps here in black, also black frames around the windows. And now to the rear, and especially this rear three-quarter perspective is so beautiful. I think the most beautiful thing about this vehicle, with the falling roofline and then sporty rear in this new generation, horizontal tail lamps, nice signature. And then also here in the RS version with the spoiler lip, which is very well integrated, I think. Yay, they still give us gas struts, right and left. And then the RS versions, 2-liter TSI, 245 horsepower pure petrol, or this one, 1.4-liter TSI, combined with the electric motor, also 245 horsepower, just via the front wheels, electronic differential lock in this case, 13 kWh battery, about 40 kilometers of pure electric range. And then there will also be the RS diesel, 2-liter TDI with 200 horsepower, that one optional all-wheel drive, but here the PHEV and the pure petrol front-wheel drive only. And the acceleration figures to 1 kilometers an hour, 6.7 for the pure petrol, 6.8 for the diesel, and here for our plug-in hybrid drivetrain, the RS IV, 7.3, so about a half a second slower. And recharging in the front left, but only 3.6 kilowatt AC possible. Inside of the doors with a nice structure right here visually and also soft touch. Then microfiber here at the door on the inside, also well done. And here then specific RS features or vRS features here with the logo, steering wheel, flat bottom, red contrast stitches. Also already some microfiber here on the left side. And then there are sport seats with integrated head restraints like this. They would standardly come with a so-called thermoflux. This is a pure fabric material, also supposed to be very breathable. This here is an option with the microfiber. This looks quite fancy. However, some of the parts here are then also genuine animal skin. So that's of course not that good then for the animals and for the environment. Some other parts leatherette, so I would recommend to stick with these thermoflux seats. They will deliver the same comfort. They here just look a little bit fancier, but also cost extra. Getting inside here with a good comfort on this sport seats here, so they really offer good comfort also for tall people. You can also put the seating area a little bit longer. Electric control right here with 2 memory options, steering wheel, manual up and down, in and out, good and smooth process. So you really find a good seating position when you put the seat all the way down without the panoramic roof, which is optionally available. A lot of headroom here also with 1.86 or 6'1". Interior overview with a nice central and sporty style. Here the dashboard top part, soft touch and a nice structure as well. Then beautiful here with the microfiber for the RS version, red contrast, and then this central setup here with the ambient lighting is hidden underneath as well. Left side 10.25-inch digital instruments, standard. Right side normal Octavia would start 8.25-inch, and this one here the RS standard with the 10-inch screen. These are the digital instruments. Analog, however, on the right side, just with the light here for the fuel status, on the left side then for the battery status. And the good thing here, it's actually a nice view, but you can also switch the views depending on what you like. This, systems view or map view all over the place, or like this. So quite flexible and clear to read. Head-up display is always a nice option. Speed, allowed speed, and some GPS info if you like, for example. So definitely a safety option to go for. Close-up of the infotainment system right here. This is the main menu, so actually quite well to control. Apple CarPlay integration looks like this, and the optional Canton sound system here is actually quite decent, so I'm overall happy with that. Some bezels here, of course, left and right, and the Skoda system. Here you can control the temperature, so inside the screen, that's better than with the sliders. Then the DSG shifting lever, shift by wire, no mechanical link, but therefore you have a smooth transition between reverse and drive mode. And here the S mode, this is sport mode, and you have both drivetrains at once. No special recuperation B mode or something, however here, recuperation rather done via the brake pedal. And as for the rear seating, here with the manual shades, that's always a nice solution. Hardpack at the inside of the doors at the rear. Nice setup here also with the same sporty scheme, and here this is this smartphone or tablet holder. Skoda has placed it for display purposes. Getting inside here, these sporties are a little bit more voluminous than the normal ones, so you have less leg room in this RS version or the RS versions. Now let's open this hatch. Why this is called hatch, although the outside form is a sedan. Easily fits you with the big cabin trolley, 600 liters, like 640 liters with the Combi. But here, the advantage of the Combi would actually be more this. This would work with the Combi, but would not work with the hatch, because here then we are limited in the height. So this is the basic difference, but here of course a good compromise that you can have a sedan on the outside appearance, but a wide hatch opening fastback style on the interior. Then here 107 centimeters. Welcome to Thomas's Active Driving Lounge, Skoda Octavia RS IV. Even though it's a plug-in hybrid, after all, it's an RS, therefore the Active Driving Lounge. And we put it back to the sports mode with the shifting lever here, DSG. And then you see also the DCC selection jumps to sport, and also the preload and everything, electric boost combined with the combustion engine. So both drivetrains starting 40 kilometers an hour active now. That's 170 kilometers an hour. Good acceleration indeed, so about a half a second slower than the pure petrol engine and also the diesel of the RS. Interesting sound boost. I mean, this is not the engine you're hearing, this is a sound actuator. Sorry, I really have to laugh about that. It's a 1.4 liter turbo petrol engine. So, yet again, you can say, I mean, yeah, when you really think about the facts, it's a little bit pathetic. However, I mean, the sound actuator was designed in a very nice way. I mean, it sounds good, you know? So when you open your mind and say, okay, then it's actually nice. So, I mean, why not? Whatever. So, just to note that, I would like to see your opinion to that one. Do you rather think, yes, it's pathetic? Or would you say like, I mean, come on, I'm driving this car. It is not an unsporty car. The acceleration is quite significant, as we've seen. Why not do that, you know? And even V8 engines get sound actuators meanwhile, because the cars are so well insulated. So, power from both drivetrains really works very well. Being in this hybrid mode, both active. When I put it back here, the shifting lever to the normal mode, the sound disappears. I'm also in the normal DCC driving mode, for example. So the suspension is not as stiff as before. DCC here also an option for the RS. Today the road is a little bit wet, therefore when accelerating, you can see out here some ambient lighting. It's actually quite nice. So road was a little bit wet, so you could see maybe also in the instruments there was some wheel spin. The ESC had to be active in a way, but it wasn't disturbing the steering too much. It was somewhat okay. And we did realize the thing with the VW Tiguan in the plug-in hybrid version with the very, very same drivetrain, very same horsepower output, also in wet roads, and was not that pleasant to drive. This one here, electronic differential lock, whereas the petrol RS has the mechanical differential lock. Yeah, I mean, I feel that this setup here they found in the RS IV is a little bit better than with the Tiguan. So the Passat drivetrain with the reduced horsepower amount, same goes for the Skoda Superb plug-in hybrid. These two were very good to drive actually, and with the Tiguan 245 horsepower, I think it was just too much power on the front axle. I will also test it further, in the next corner where I'll accelerate out. So far I have the impression it's a little bit better as for the setup right here. So let's see, a little bit reducing the speed. Now out of the corner accelerating. Yeah, when it's red road, I wasn't even flooring it all the way out. And I think the problem is when they have the higher horsepower output here for the front wheel drive only cars, and then you have wet road and the electric torque sets in immediately, not in a certain power curve. I was saying outside temperature of 4 degrees, by the way, so warning for freezing. I think it's a little bit too much, when the road is wet. So when dry road, it won't be such a problem, but it really seems to be that it's too much power on the front wheels at wet roads, and yeah, maybe they need to do some fine-tuning there. However, I felt that in the Tiguan, the setup was worse than here. Here, I felt it's a little bit more harmonized overall, so I think it's somewhat okay, definitely, From 85 kilometers an hour acceleration. And goodbye. So that's 170 kilometers an hour again. When wet road, I need to be a little bit more careful, of course. Yeah, that rolling sound, actuator sound once again. So once again, a good acceleration, really like that. So I think when you just feel the power-wise, there's not such a compromise here with the IV version. You do have the power, you do have the motorway comfort. The seating is good as for the seat form on these sport seats. Again, as I said, you can also stick with the base thermoflux pure fabric seats. As for that, lane change here at higher speeds, also quite stable. You do feel that the DCC here in this IV version from the RS is not set lower as with the other versions, so it feels a little bit less sporty, but then again a little bit more comfortable. So then the question is what's your main emphasis? And good, of course, with the plug-in hybrid. Here now a situation where I have to reduce the speed, and that energy is not completely lost. At least I can gain back some of the energy via recuperation. And how much you consume, it really depends. If you have this combination of electricity and petrol, you can do something 2 or 3 liters or more kilometers, and then of course electric consumption plus that. Really depends on how often you recharge. Maximum of about 40 kilometers pure electric range, so it's 20 miles something when it's really full. Maybe you drive all electric during the week and make some longer trips at the weekend or so. That could be a use case, for example. And then the pure consumption of the combustion engine, when the battery is completely depleted, is more or less the one of a comparable combustion engine, but more than of the modern 1.5 liter TSI MHEV. So that one was rather like 5 liters something, and this one is rather like 7 liters something here. So 30 mpg US something, between 30 and 40 mpg UK for this one here, pure combustion, when you don't have any battery power left. And now to our conclusion for today with the Skoda Octavia RS IV or vRS IV. Well, the exterior, I think a very likable one, maybe a small A7 if you like. Here in the white with the black contrast, I think that comes quite well, but the pure petrol RS we had earlier in the very strong red tone, that was also a very nice one. But of course you can pick the color freely. Just, no matter which drivetrain you really pick for that one. So which RS is the best one? The real vRS to me is still the pure petrol one, just most fun, I think. However, this one can make sense if you save a lot of taxes or something, and if you can recharge frequently. So I think it's more, a money question. And of course, if you have this, use case that you can drive all electric during the week, and then maybe boost it a little bit over the weekend, then this one can also make sense. For all three models, TSI, TDI, and also here the plug-in hybrid version, they count that they have a lot of space on the interior, especially in the loading area, and a nice build quality. Infotainment system, a little bit more complicated than in the previous version, and also very, very nice sport seats. So, especially then with the thermoflux base material, even more sustainable and also a little bit cheaper. I think overall the price-performance ratio here of the RS models is still a very good one. You get a lot of performance, not that a high price, good usability on the interior. Still a very, very decent car here on the market. What's your take? And which RS version would you go for? Tell us in the comments. See you there.